Have you ever agreed to something even though you didn't want to? Maybe you said yes to a work project even though you were already overloaded. Or you agreed to hang out with a friend even though you needed rest. How about saying yes to a favor even though you knew it would leave you exhausted? If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many of us have been there, saying yes to avoid conflict, to please others, or just because we don't want to disappoint. But why is it so hard to say no? In this article, we'll uncover the psychology behind why some people struggle with setting boundaries. By understanding the reasons, you can begin to break the pattern and reclaim control over your decisions. Let's dive into the root causes and learn how to empower ourselves to say no when it's needed. One of the main reasons people struggle to say no is the fear of disappointing others. We all want to be liked, accepted, and seen as reliable. For many, saying yes is a way of gaining approval and avoiding rejection. The desire to be liked can be so strong that it overrides our own needs. When we say yes, we feel that we are doing something good and earning favor. This desire to be liked often leads to overcommitting and neglecting our own well-being. We fear that saying no might make us seem selfish or unkind. The thought of others thinking less of us can create anxiety, pushing us to agree even when we shouldn't. Over time, this pattern can lead to burnout, as we give more than we can handle. It's important to realize that true connection doesn't depend on always saying yes. Setting boundaries is a sign of self-respect, not a rejection of others. Another key reason people can't say no is the fear of conflict. Many people worry that saying no will lead to an argument or create tension. The anxiety of disappointing someone or facing their anger is enough to make them agree. For some, avoiding conflict becomes more important than protecting their own time and energy. Saying yes feels like a way to keep things peaceful, even if it comes at a personal cost. This fear of rejection plays a big role too. People who are emotionally invested in pleasing others fear that rejecting a request will make them seem unworthy. They worry that by saying no, they might push others away or ruin the relationship. This fear often comes from a place of insecurity, where approval from others is seen as essential. But constantly agreeing to avoid rejection only leads to feeling overwhelmed and disconnected. The truth is, relationships built on healthy boundaries are often stronger and more genuine. Guilt is another powerful force that prevents people from saying no. Many individuals feel a deep sense of responsibility for the well-being of others. They believe that if they don't help, they're letting someone down. This sense of guilt can make it difficult to put their own needs first. They may feel obligated to say yes, even when they're already stretched too thin. For them, it's as if their worth is tied to how much they can do for others. The pressure to always help can be overwhelming, leading them to neglect their own mental and physical health. Saying no feels like a betrayal of the person asking for help, even if it's in their best interest. Over time, this guilt leads to burnout, resentment, and a sense of being taken for granted. The key here is understanding that it's okay to say no without feeling guilty. By learning to set boundaries, we can give our best to others without losing ourselves in the process. Low self-esteem often plays a significant role in why people can't say no. When someone doesn't feel good about themselves, they may fear that saying no will make them unworthy of love or respect. They believe that if they don't constantly help others or agree to everything, they will be seen as selfish or uncaring. This lack of self-worth can make it difficult to prioritize their own needs. People with low self-esteem may struggle to assert themselves, feeling as though their feelings don't matter as much as others' needs. Without clear boundaries, they often feel like they have no control over their time and energy. Saying yes becomes a way to gain approval, even if it means putting their own well-being at risk. Over time, they may begin to feel drained, invisible, or resentful, but still find it difficult to say no. Building self-esteem and learning to assert healthy boundaries is key to breaking this cycle. When we value ourselves, we realize that it's okay to say no. It doesn't make us less worthy. People-pleasing is another reason many find it hard to say no. People-pleasers are driven by the need to make others happy, often at the expense of their own happiness. They tend to avoid disappointing others, even when it means sacrificing their time, energy, and well-being. This behavior often stems from a deep-seated fear of rejection and a desire for external validation. The need for approval can become so ingrained that they say yes to requests even when they're overwhelmed. It can be hard for them to set limits because they don't want to be seen as difficult or uncooperative. The constant need to please others can be emotionally exhausting, leaving them feeling burned out and unfulfilled. But it's important to realize that people-pleasing isn't a sustainable way to build relationships. True connections are based on mutual respect, and that includes respecting one's own boundaries. Learning to say no is part of healthy self-care and helps build more authentic and balanced relationships. By letting go of the need to please everyone, people can start to prioritize their own needs and happiness. Constantly saying yes, even when it's detrimental to oneself, takes a serious toll. Overcommitting can lead to stress, anxiety, and physical exhaustion. When you're constantly putting others' needs before your own, your emotional and physical health suffers. The constant pressure to please others can create a mental fog and increase feelings of overwhelm. The more someone neglects their own well-being, the more they risk burnout and chronic fatigue. In the long run, this can lead to depression, anxiety, and a weakened immune system. People who struggle to say no often experience high levels of stress, which weakens their ability to cope with life's challenges. This emotional and physical exhaustion affects their relationships as well, as they become less present and more withdrawn. The inability to set boundaries can also cause resentment, leading to frustration in both personal and professional life. Learning to say no is essential for maintaining a healthy mind and body. By respecting one's limits, individuals can protect their health and foster more fulfilling relationships. Learning to say no is crucial for personal well-being and healthy relationships. Saying no is not about being selfish, it's about respecting your own needs. When you set boundaries, you create space for what truly matters to you. Saying no helps prioritize your time, energy, and emotional resources. It allows you to focus on your well-being, passions, and the relationships that matter most. Being able to say no also shows others that you value yourself and your limits. It encourages healthier, more balanced connections where both parties respect each other's time and needs. Saying no allows you to avoid burnout and emotional exhaustion, which is essential for long-term happiness. It can also strengthen your self-confidence as you learn to assert yourself and take control of your decisions. Ultimately, saying no is an act of self-care that helps you live a more fulfilling and balanced life. By learning when to say no, you give yourself permission to say yes to the things that truly enrich your life. Learning to say no can be challenging, but it's a skill that can be developed over time. The first step is recognizing the importance of boundaries. Understand that saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values their own time and well-being. Start small by practicing saying no in less challenging situations, such as declining a social invitation or not taking on an extra task at work. Being clear and direct is key. Avoid over-explaining or apologizing for your decision. You don't need to justify your reasons. Simply saying, "I'm not able to do that right now," is enough. It's also important to recognize that you can say no without guilt. Remind yourself that you are not responsible for everyone else's happiness, and it's okay to prioritize yourself. Over time, you'll gain more confidence and become more comfortable with setting limits. Therapy or self-reflection can also help address any deeper issues, like fear of rejection or guilt, that prevent you from saying no. As you practice, you'll start to feel empowered by your ability to create space for what matters most to you. Remember, learning to say no is a process, but with patience, it becomes easier. Saying no is an essential skill that many of us need to develop. While it may feel uncomfortable at first, it is key to maintaining balance in our lives. We often say yes because we fear rejection, conflict, or disappointing others. But constantly agreeing to things that don't align with our needs can lead to burnout and emotional exhaustion. Setting boundaries and learning to say no allows us to prioritize our well-being. It's a sign of self-respect and self-care, not selfishness. When we say no, we're giving ourselves the space to focus on what truly matters, our happiness, health, and relationships. By learning to say no with confidence, we build stronger, more authentic connections with others. Remember, it's okay to say no. It's okay to protect your time, your energy, and your mental health. By doing so, we create the freedom to say yes to the things that genuinely enrich our lives. So take the first step today. Practice saying no and watch how it transforms your life for the better.